here we are, everybody, the long-awaited timeline, the Time Traveler timeline video explanation. And in reality, this turned out to be pretty different from what I thought. Now, there's actually a couple of things that I think I've picked up on from when I actually watched it through, even from that first time I made the initial series. So if you haven't seen the whole series, if you're new to the whole Monsta X timeline stories, we're going to be covering that. If you are a mom baby and you are watching this, I would ask, because I would like to cover the 7 Deadly Sins story as well. If you know what songs are included in there, please let me know in the comments below, and I want to start that as soon as next week. That is actually, we are recording this as of the 13th of January. So, here's the deal. This right here is Hyungwon, right here. Oh, right here. This is Hyungwon, right here. Obviously, you know that. This Hyunwon, I like to refer to as the original, or the prototype Hyunwon. Now, the reason why I say that is because of a couple of things. I think that personally, that this is the same Hyunwon. Now, the interesting thing is that I think that at this point, we have to bring up one critical aspect I think makes the most sense for me in this storyline. This is Hyunwon's mom and dad. Obviously, if you know the story, they die in this car wreck. And then he uses time travel to go back to try and set everything right. And I think I've come to the decision that I think, from my own personal opinion, and now bear in mind, this is not anything that I think Monsta X has really told anybody. I borrowed heavily from other people's theories. I just think I have maybe a different twist that maybe you might be interested in hearing. So I think that Hyunwon's dad is the person who invented the time travel. And I think that maybe him and the mom might be in some sort of company that pushed that forward. And I think that this is where it gets a little crazy. When he starts constantly going back in time, making all these loops, I think that splits off. So I think that in a sense, this Hyunwon spawns all of them. And I think that happens because he keeps going back and restarting the timelines, and then it starts getting to the point where they start breaking away from what he's originally trying to do. And that is to bring back his parents, bring back his friends, and all the people that get affected in the car wrecks, and the people that die in his life. And I think that the interesting thing is that this Hyunwon is this Hyunwon, and this Hyunwon is like the ultimate version, in a sense. He realizes his mistake, and he's trying to actually end all the timelines. I think this is kind of like the same kind of time travel that you see in the Marvel Universe with the TVA. And basically, this Hyunwon is trying to restore the original timeline by erasing all the others. And I think that even in this music video, we actually have a bit of a clue for that. Throughout the music video, you see him with these gold pills, or I think that because it's a music video, these were in place of bullets. And these bullets here are specifically meant to end people who can keep repeating timelines, so that way when he uses these pills, he ends their ability to restart their loop. That's what I think. And I think that the other people that are in this music video with him is a whole other version of Monsta X that I refer to as the 7 Deadly Sins, which I think they are basically time travel hunters. They're helping this Hyunwon to hunt down all the other ones, all the other Monsta X's, and end their timelines. Now this Hyunwon is the one that's also in the end of Kiss or Death. This is the Hyunwon who's trying to restart and stop the other one from what he is doing. And I think that this one, in the end, realizes what he has to do. Now, the interesting thing is the other boys in Monsta X do end up finding a way to try and track him down through time and space. The ones from the original music video, this version of Monsta X is trying to track down their Hyunwon that you see in this music video that's also in Drama Rama, and they're trying to save him. Because I think at the time they don't know what's going on. They just want to try and find him and bring him back to this timeline and find a way to time travel. And I think that this whole music video right here is exactly that. This is them trying to find out where he went throughout space and time. And in fact, that train, I think, also ends up becoming the train that is in Kiss or Death. And the interesting thing is that this right here shows that this Hyunwon realizes that so many things are happening and that basically the timeline is splitting right here. And he is trying to figure out basically what is the best option. And these versions of Monsta X split up like he does. So there's multiple versions of Monsta X looking for him. And the unfortunately weird thing about this is that because of Hyunwon in Shootout, these are the ones that I refer to as the assassins of this timeline. This whole thing is set up to me that makes me think that Hyunwon is the ultimate assassin. He's trying to take out all the other Hyunwons and secure the timelines and bring it back to normal, while the other one doesn't understand what he's doing and why he's trying to end the other timelines, but he knows that basically they're at opposite ends. And he realizes that the only way that he can is to keep going back in time. And now the interesting thing is, now that we've gotten to this point, I've introduced you to the evil version of Monsta X, and every other Monsta X that's in these music videos has the potential to be a different one. And not only that, same thing with Hyunwon. Now, the original thing was that I was told is that because of certain things that happened, they never finished the Monsta X time traveler story. I beg to differ. I think that this right here, the Kiss or Death, is in fact the end of the story and was purposely written as such. So here is, I think, a slight tweak on what I think actually does end up happening. Right here in this music video, we will actually see Hyunwon, the final one from the original and from the Destroyer VCR, on the train. And he realizes that the 7 Deadly Sin Monsta X are here to finish him off. And I dare claim to say, at this point, he is the last of them all. I think that they have succeeded in their mission of eliminating all the other timelines. And the Hyunwon from Shootout is also in this music video, making his way. I think that we even see them in their space stations and getting ready to land here. Boom, that's them coming to end the job. However, what I think ends up happening is that he realizes one thing, that the blonde Hyunwon is correct, but with a caveat. Because he did not fix the problem, he decided to do one last crazy ditch effort and restart the timeline from the beginning, like the blonde Hyunwon from Shootout wanted. However, what the Blanc Hyungwon didn't want was for the timelines to restart. He wanted them to go back to just being where they are now, and he can continue on with his life. The difference is between the two original Hyungwons is one wanted to keep looking for the answer to save everybody, whereas the other one thought, at this point, we can't save it. Let's end it all and move forward with our lives. And the funny thing is, that means that the blonde Hyungwon in Shootout, who was trying to, literally, the song is called Shootout, trying to end all the other timelines, all the other versions of himself, loses out to himself from the original music video because the other one sees that there is still a possibility to fix it. So rather than ending the timeline and letting life move back on, he's going to make the story keep looping over and over again. So every single time you decide to go back through and rewatch the time traveler music and like timeline, it is, those two are the only two that remain the same. And until they decide to make another music video that I think fully ends it, you will always see that every other Monsta X and Hyungwon in this video are different from even the first time you watched it. It is an absolute loop of just those two trying to, one, move on with life, or two, the other one, trying to see if he can save his family and his friends from death. And that, my friends, is the explanation that I have for the Monsta X time traveler timeline. And this right here is actually how it was supposed to always end. I'll even turn on the music. That takes him back all the way to this scene right here. This is where it goes. Now, the interesting thing is that I know that there might be one thing that you might be saying. The only thing that's weird is the Men in Black-like people that we see right here. Who are they? Those, I believe, worked for the company where the dad worked that created the watch. They were not effective in collecting the watch enough because Hyungwon gets away with a usable watch and splits off into all the timelines, and he realizes that these are ineffective. He realizes the only people that can actually stop Monsta X and Hyungwon himself are in fact themselves. This is how it all ties together as to why there was a necessity of all the other Monsta X's, including the 7 Deadly Sin Monsta X assassins. So, if you have any other questions about my theory, I would be happy to answer them in the comments. So, I think as of right now, I think that's probably the best that I can say is the Monsta X timeline in terms of what we know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I had a lot of fun with this. So, thank you all so much. We will see you in the next video. Bye, Victus.